Okay, so today I will explain a couple of techniques how to set up a basic lighting in Cinema 4D, and also gonna touch a bit techniques with the render and global illumination and other bullshit. So it's gonna be like a couple of tutorials in one. So just to kind of give you the thing that we're gonna be making first, just gonna click render and see what you're gonna get. So you can see that we have quite an interesting effect, like there's pretty good lighting, very basic lighting actually, with reflections, so it kind of gives you an illusion that it was these three balls were basically placed in a real studio. You can see reflections over here, like from windows and walls and bullshit like that. Also, there is like, don't mind these gaps. It's just the window size. It can be easily fixed, but the main thing is just over here. Let me just move it right here. So, as I said, you can see the reflections of this of a virtual room, and kind of very basic lighting with basic shadows, and yeah, and seamless infinite floor, which was basically explained by Nick Campbell from Grayscale Gorilla, but he didn't explain how to set it up with global illumination on, because it didn't work that way, but I found a way around, so I'll show you how it's done. So I'm gonna start from zero, just gonna create a new one, new document, say, and first I just quickly gonna set up the scene. Just go to primitives, sphere, go to plane. This is gonna be our floor. So just quickly see where is it. Okay, just really basic setup, nothing fancy. You can set up camera, but I'm not gonna set a camera. I'm just gonna use the regular editor's camera. So I'm using plane instead of floor objects because it works better with global illumination, and well, just for the presentation, just for now, for the thing I showed, it's better to use plane, and I always use planes. I almost can't remember the last time I used floor, so just quickly make a couple of materials. The way I made, if you interested, the way I made the stripe, like in the middle, it's very easy to set up. Just create new material, go to color, texture, and here are like different textures that you can use for your material or any other material setup. So go to surface and checkerboard, so you can already see how it can look for now, but let's say I just want to stripe, so that go to yeah, to properties, and here are your two colors. Let's say I wanted, I don't know, blue and red, whatever. Looks ugly. Okay, I think it's alright. Sorry. And then you can change frequency. QV, U, I think it's going to be 0, and let's say V will be 1.5, for example. It gives us a nice stripe right in the middle. Then you have to set, if you want your material to be reflective, to kind of show the possibilities of good lighting and stuff, just click on reflection. You can see that it's going to be like 100% effect if it's not what we want. So, and to give it a bit more naturalistic kind of reflection, go to texture and Fresnel. So, I mean, already by default it's pretty good, but you can play around with settings, with mixed strength and brightness. It's just gonna kind of make things a bit better if you just adjust it by yourself. So I think it's alright now with the material. I'm pretty happy with it, so just for now I'm going to drag it on my sphere. Just see, I have no lighting for now, just want to see how it looks. It will look different when we have lighting and reflections and stuff. Okay, looks so good so far. Then I need a background for, let's say, for the floor and for the whole scene. So I'm just going to create another material, turn off specular, just go to the color, again the texture, and this time we're not going to use Fresnel, we're going to use gradient. So you see it's going to be gradient. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, go to the gradient, and there are different types of gradients as in any other software like Photoshop or Illustrator or bless you. Go, and for the one that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using circular, just to make it like background a bit, not like completely white, but just a bit softer for eyes. So I'm making this completely 100% white, and this one will be a bit, you know, a bit darker. So I'm happy with that. That's alright. Good. And I'm also going to create a background for the whole, because right now if I render, if I render it, it's completely black, and I want it to be, let's say, completely white, or the color of a gradient we did. So yeah, just go to yeah, and select the background. So now we're gonna have background, but for background to work, you need to drag a material on it. So you're not gonna see it on the scene because it just is visible in the render. So if I click now, you can see that we already have our gradient background. I also want my plane or my flow to be the same color as a background. So first, if I'm going to just drag and drop it, you can see it doesn't really work this way. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to go to click on your material on the plane and change UV mapping to frontal. Well, nothing much changed, but you will see. Next, just quickly gonna drop some light, just basic light. You can use, there are different kind of lights, and it maybe should be even like a different tutorial. We're just quickly going to explain you different kind of lights. First of all, you have just light objects, just absolutely simple light, almost like a light bulb. So it kind of drops light in all directions. So if you move it around, you will see that it kind of doesn't have a particular direction to drop a light. If you put it completely above the object, is gonna basically, I imagine it as a virtual light bulb. Every light has a property, so you can make it any color you like, but be careful with making it very dark because it's not gonna work. You can make intensity of light over here, it's like the brightness basically. Also, even after you selected the light, this is just the Omni, just simple light. You can change it here, or you can make a new one, whatever you like. Also, by default there are no shadows, so if we're gonna render it, there will be no shadow, and this is not very naturalistic, and we want to have shadows on this one. But really depends on what you're going for. If you don't want shadows, if you just want to illuminate the scene, because sometimes when you do quite complicated scenes, you can put some lights just for lighting and not for shadowing. But in this case I'm just going to put soft shadow maps, and you need to understand that everything you do, like if you add shadows, it's going to take longer to render. So for now it takes a bit longer. Yeah, right now it looks a bit awful, but it's all gonna be alright, I promise. Okay, just put lights above, very simple. I'm gonna make my plane a bit bigger, just because I want to give shadows and lighting enough space to reflect on the sphere. So just go to the object, and here is my height and width. I'm just gonna make it a bit bigger. I mean, I don't mind the numbers, so just make it big enough for object to sit on. So now if I render it again, you can see that there is like quite a good shadow on it. It's too dark for now, but we'll correct it later. So if you just render it now, it doesn't look anything like the one I showed you before, with the all complicated reflections and stuff. Because one of the point is global illumination. Global illumination is basically its setting, its effect in your render settings, which allows your light to reflect and to jump off your objects more naturalistically. So, but it also makes your render go much slower. So be careful with that. If you want just, you know, simple, plain scene without kind of realistic lighting or reflections, don't go for global illumination. And especially if you're doing animation, that kind of slow your each frame down. So, but we're doing just one frame, so I'll show you how to do it. If you go to your render settings, to click over here, and here are your render settings. There are a bunch of settings. If you go to effect, there will be loads of effects which you can just, whenever you have some time, just click on every of them and just change some settings and see what it does. There are some really fun ones like cell render, or it's one of my favorite, or sketch and tune, which makes your object looks like cartoons or sketches or something. But just for now we're going for global illumination. And in global illumination there are a bunch of settings which you can change, like global illumination, or shortened by GI modes. There is for still image, for camera animation, for still image, camera animation, full animation, blah blah blah. But just for now we're doing still image. There are also diffuse depth and stuff, but just for now leave it all alone. I just want to show you the basic setup which you can later explore by yourself. So now we have global illumination set. I can close my render, and if I click the render, you will see that it will go much slower, because global illumination must calculate how light reflects from the surface of the plane and from the surface of the sphere, and a bunch of other complicated mathematical calculations. So it takes much slower to calculate the whole thing. So now you can see it already becomes a bit better, but the shadow is still too dark, and even though our plane and our background is the same color, it doesn't blend together. We still have this ugly edge which we don't want to. So I'll show you the way how to get around it. I mean, Nick Campbell explained the technique, how it can be done without global illumination. But if you want, as I said, naturalistic lighting, you need global illumination, and I'll show you the way around. So first of all, I also want to give my sphere to reflect the virtual room. This kind of virtual room reflection is called HDRI. You should definitely spend some time in, if you go to a window, if you go to content browser, you're going to see loads of stuff which comes in your package of cinema. There are, if you just spend maybe a couple of hours or maybe days in content browser, you will find amazing stuff which can save you plenty of time. There are like materials, models, light setups, camera animation setups, and a bunch of other very cool stuff. So it basically is a browser with already made presets which will save you a lot of time. But just for now, if you go to your presets, Cinema 4D, I think materials, yeah, and HDRI, and you will see a bunch of materials which already have reflection maps in them. But you can use this, or if you want to, because you can use any pictures that you like. I mean, these are just the ones that are here by default, but you can make these materials here by yourself, and I'm going to show you how. So you need to create a new material, open the editor, click away from the color, click away from the specular, and click on the luminance. It's going to make your material completely blank for now, but it just is. So what you need is HDRI image. HDRI images are basically almost panoramic images. If you just type in HDRI images and just see what they have, like on Google Images, just type Visual Studio or something like that if you want like very white blank studio. Like this one looks very nice. So just yeah, they are selling very good pack with studios, but this quality is alright for me for now. So I'm just gonna save it to my desktop. Save. You go back to cinema. So you go to texture of your new material, this one white, go to texture, load image, and you can load any image, but this one looks alright for me. There it is, and open. It's gonna ask you if you want to create a path. You can click yes, no, whatever, yes, and there you go, there is your HDRI material. So what can you do with it? Okay, so to make your material reflect our virtual room, you need to create another object on your scene which is called sky, and then you basically drop your HDRI material on your sky. If you render it as it is, you will see yeah, just a sec. You will see pixelated bullshit, and we definitely don't want that. So to make it disappear, you need to add a compositing tag for sky. If you go to tags, Cinema 4D tags, and compositing, so you go to compositing tag, click on your sky, click on your tag, go to tag option, and turn off scene by camera. So it will make your sky invisible for a camera, but still visible for your object to reflect. So let's see how it goes. So you can see already, we still can see flow because we haven't worked on it yet, but you can already see that object is reflecting the virtual room quite well. So that looks good, but I don't like the shadow and I don't like the floor. So we need to fix that as well, and it's basically fixed in the same way as you fixed sky. So if you click on your plane, go to tags and Cinema 4D again and compositing tag. But this time you need to make your plane a compositing background. And well, if you click right now, it's going to be basically look the same because of the global illumination. If you wouldn't use global illumination, you wouldn't see the edge of the plane. But if you want to fix that, you need to go back to material, the one that we're using for plane and the background. In bunch of options, you're going to go down to illumination, and you need to click away from receive GI, so it will not render plane as a part of global illumination. So if you click now, it's just going to render sphere instead of rendering sphere and floor and other stuff. It will still receive the shadows. Shadow is going to be way darker, but it can be fixed. So just for now, our scene is almost ready. Don't give a shit about these corners. It's just because my window is set it up like that, but it's gonna be fine. So what's next? Let's fix shadow, and we're gonna be done with the basic lighting. So I don't like how the shadow looks, so I'm just gonna take my light and put it down a bit. See how it looks. Yeah. Shadow. You can also adjust the. Well, let's see how it looks first. You can also adjust almost every. Well, you can still see the shadow is too dark for me, so I can just go to shadow, and density is basically how dark the shadow is. Maybe just 20% from the original. So nah, still don't like it. I'm just gonna light a bit higher. Let's see how it looks now. And increase the shadow to 50%. Well, this is better. I think it's alright. Looks good. So yeah, you can, I mean, if you want to do the same thing as I did here, like you can duplicate the same sphere and just put it rotated, and it will look absolutely the same as here. So here you go. This is the basics of setting up global illumination and basic light. Now I will explain a bit like difference with from different. I will explain difference between different lights. If you have some money to spend, I would really advise to get Nick Campbell's setup of I think it's called HDRI Studio pack or something. It's full of useful stuff, but if you don't want to spend any money, I think Cinema has wonderful tools to do everything yourself by hand, and you can save all your setup, so every time that you need to do a new render, you don't need to redo everything again. You just save it as an example, and then you just change your, I don't know, change your sphere from sphere to, let's say, I want to make a cube, and if we put a cube, give a cube the same material, so it should look alright. So yeah, just you can keep it as example, or you can do everything again every time. But okay, so there are different kind of lights. The one that I was using in this one was a simple Omni light. As I said, Omni lights is similar to the light bulb. It casts light in every direction, so it's not, if you want to light a specific area of your object, it's not very good. It's kind of almost like yeah, as I said, the best example I can say is a light bulb. But let's delete this one and let's see what other lights are doing. The ones that I usually use, I'm using Omni or I'm using Spotlight. I wouldn't tell you what to do with this one, you just need to figure it out by yourself. But let's try Spotlight. Spotlight is basically what it is. It is a spotlight. It's almost like a flashlight or something. So as I turn it, you can see how it lights a specific area, which you can increase or decrease. But if I do it like that, let's see how our render will look. So it's quite clean because it's been lit from this side. The shadow will be on. Oh, because we didn't turn on the shadows. If you want to turn shadow, don't forget to do it in general setup. Spotlight, type, shadows, shadow map soft, and there we go. Let's see. There we are. So I have shadow. Again, you can make it as you like. More density, less density. You know, decide it as you wish. Next thing is a friend asked me how to render your objects if you want to later export them to use them in your designs in Photoshop or Illustrator or InDesign or anywhere else. So basically what he needed is a render of the object with transparent background. And for this thing, if you just render it as JPEG, of course it's going to be with black background. So transparent backgrounds I usually render object with transparent background as PNG files. You can render them and even as with PSD layers like TIFF. You can render all you've seen as a bunch of layers. For me it's usually enough. If the scene is quite simple, I usually use PNG. But the thing is, when you select PNG, you also need to select alpha channel. Alpha channel is transparency. So let's select alpha and let's click on, let's say, file and save it directly on the desktop, so it will be easier to find. Name it run something, I don't know. So alpha channel is selected, global illumination is selected. Let's also add ambient occlusion, so it will make our shadows look a bit better as well. Yeah, looks fine. Save. Also, you need to design if you go to output, you can select different presets. So you can go to screen. It's absolutely basically the same as you can select how big your file is in Photoshop with resolution and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm alright with these settings, and resolution is 72 pixels per inch, which isn't very large, but just for now it's alright. You can change it if you want to print it. You can change it to 300 or higher depending on your needs, which I'm just going to keep it 70 so it renders faster. Yeah, keep in mind, if you put in the high resolution, the render is going to take longer to to finish. So because we want transparent background, you also need to decide if you want shadows. If you want shadows, you will not be able to get transparent background here. So but let's say I just want my sphere and I don't want any shadows, so I just want it beautifully illuminated and lit and with reflections, our virtual studio and stuff. So what I need to do, I need to turn off my background and I need to turn off my plane. So I'm gonna hold Alt on your keyboard and click once and twice. So now these dots will be red. That's gonna mean that the background will not be visible in our picture viewer, in our final render, and it will not be seen in editor, it will not be seen in renderer. So yeah, you can do it like that, hold Alt and click, or you can go here and visible in editor, visible in render, and turn it off, but more easier if you need to do it like that. Click twice. Let's check it out before doing the last render, how it looks. So the background will be black because eventually there is no background. We don't want it, we just want a sphere. So if the background is black, it seems like everything was done alright. So we still have our light, we still have our reflections, and we have our beautiful sphere. So let's do the final render. Before that, let's double check our settings. I'm satisfied with my resolution, it's alright. Just click on save and check if you have alpha channel, because if you're doing complicated render, if you've done mistakes now, you're gonna need to wait, I don't know, a couple of hours, and then you will discover that you made a mistake, and then you need to go back and redo the whole thing again. So it's better to double check or even triple check everything. So everything looks fine. I have my direction, PNG, alpha channel selected, global illumination, ambient occlusion, everything seems okay. I'm satisfied. I'm closing my render settings and clicking on the final render in picture viewer. So let's render it. That was quick because my resolution was quite low and the scene was very simple. So it's done. I can close it. Just gonna put this one down, and here we have our little sphere. There you go. You can open it. Of course, if I'm gonna zoom in, you're gonna see pixels. But if you put high resolution, it will be, of course, higher resolution. So quite simple, straightforward. And just let's do a higher resolution. Just show you. It's going to take a bit longer. Just going to change output to I don't know, 300, and change width and length to yeah, okay, let's say, I don't know, A3. Sounds good. Let's render once again. It's going to ask you if you want to replace it. If you don't want to replace it, you need to type in a new name in render settings. But I'm alright with replacing it. So you will see it will take much longer to render. So you can see in comparison to the previous render that we did, it took me almost, well, 18 minutes and 26 seconds, almost 19 minutes with the same object but with higher resolution to render. So just for you to imagine how long does it take for high resolution and complicated reflections to render. So that's another reason to double check your renders before you do them. So if you now see your PNG, you can definitely see the difference. I mean, the edges are smooth and nice. Of course, if you zoom in insanely, you will definitely see pixelation, but just for the printing, it is perfect. Then you can open it in Photoshop and do other things. So this is the basics of setting up the lighting and rendering it with transparent background. So there you go, practice and enjoy.